Hello, everyone. Welcome to TrinSoft's introductory series for Microsoft Dynamics Business Central. Today's topic is search and how to find things in Business Central. It's a powerful feature and tool and something that a lot of users use every day. As a matter of fact, this little search icon on the top right is so popular, I've almost made it my default method for navigating Business Central. So let's dig in and show you what I'm talking about. The Role Center, which we see here as the opening page in Business Central, defines a lot of the actions and a lot of the activity and modules that I might have access to every day and that users will use on a regular basis. But it certainly doesn't provide access to all of the functional areas, all of the reports and screens that are available in Business Central. So how do you get to those other areas? Right? And if something's out there or you think it's out there, but you don't quite remember the name, how can you find it? Well, search is the answer. And to access search, it's the little magnifying glass in the top right in the toolbar. Simply click that search option and just type away. And you can type anything that you want. So let's see if we can find some customer ledger entries, right? We'll just start to type what that is. Search automatically tries to identify areas in Business Central that it thinks are representative based on what you typed. And it organizes them by category, what's called a usage category or a task or a type. Notice that we have reports and analysis, and it's displaying 3, but you see the little link here, I can show all 4. In addition, it has on the current page, on the Business Manager page, which it's showing me, it can reconcile imported payments. So if I want to go see my customer ledger entries, notice that it found them there under reports and analysis. I simply can click that link from right here, and look at that. It takes me instantly to the customer ledger entries page for Business Central. No filters are applied. Notice the filter window is available on the left. Check out our other introductory video series on filtering that will show you how to use filters and how to take advantage of that tool as well. Once the customer ledger entries are open, I can apply my own filters, and of course I can use this cool feature to send it out to Excel whenever I'm ready. If that's not exactly what I wanted, I can just hit back and I can come back to my main screen and I can continue my search. Maybe I want to find something, it wasn't customer ledger entries, but maybe it was something on customer setup or sales setup. I don't remember where that was. I just start to type it. And notice you can type any combination of words or even partial words. And the search system, which is pretty intelligent, will make an effort to find areas that are applicable to what you're looking for. Here on the current page, it has sales quote, sales order, and invoices, which might be related to sales. It has pages and tasks, salespeople, purchaser, sales and receivables setup, report selections. It's displaying the 3 that it thinks are the closest match. But once again, notice these little links on the right. I can click show all 7, and it shows me all 7 tasks that it thinks might be applicable to what I've typed. I can pick any one of those, and it just so happens that sales and receivables setup is what I wanted to see. I go into the sales and receivables setup area, which you may not have access to. This is typically reserved for people with super users or who have high administrators, people who are responsible for helping to set up and manage the system. But I wanted to show you as an example what you could find with search. Maybe I want to do something like a credit memo. I don't see that here in my sales actions. I have most sales activities, but I don't see where to do a sales credit memo. So let's just look up credit memo and see if we can find it. We type search, first thing that pops, right? Pages and tasks. I go to sales credit memos, and there they are. And from here, I can click a new one where this is actually what I wanted. I want to take a look at the current one there. I can see my fact box on the right, which I can turn on and off with this little icon. Some people like that, some people don't. That's up to you. I encourage you to check it out. It's personal preference. But here I'm taking a look at the credit memo. Once I access a functional area from the search menu, it's fully functional and fully operational. Again, I've gotten so used to search. It's one of my go-to ways where I find everything from bank accounts to fixed assets, any part of the system. I can just type it in there and I can go see that part of the functional area. So really nice way to check it out. You'll find that you'll use search quite a bit because it's very quick and very easy. So we encourage people to configure their role center to be the activities that are used most heavily, every day. And again, check out our other intro series on the role center and how to tailor that. And then we think you'll find that most other areas you'll use search. If you find yourself searching every day for one or two tasks, you can usually get those added to your role center. Might have to ask your administrator for how to do that. So search is a really easy and popular way to find functional areas. If you know there's a way to do a job journal, let's say, and you don't know where that is and you can't find it on your list, I didn't see it initially, but if I narrow that search down a little bit, notice that we've got our job and project journals available to us, and we can always show all. So if you don't see it in the first list, remember to click this little show all to see if you can find it. Okay, next thing I want to show is finding documents or specific information inside Business Central. I'm pretty sure I had a document for one of our customers. I don't remember the whole number, but I'm just going to type in 03236. I think it was something like that. Now notice, when I first typed it in, nothing's come up. This isn't really searching for a functional page or module within Business Central. I'm really trying to find a transaction. I don't remember all the details. I'm not sure who it's for, or maybe somebody called, a customer called, or a vendor called, and they're giving you a purchase order number or a number. They're not sure if it's a purchase order or an invoice or something, a bill of materials or something. Well, what you can do is just type that number in, and notice there's an option here to search company data. When you search company data, look what it does, right? It will apply that number as little or as much of it as you can give it, and it will automatically attempt to find for you everywhere in the system where that number is a match. And it displays and can tell you what functional area that transaction pertains to. Here we can see we've got a couple of general ledger entries. I got customer ledger entries, posted sales invoices, right? So I can immediately go see the lines or the invoice. So I simply can click on that and it takes me immediately. Look how fast that was. It immediately, just from the search, I typed in the document number. I didn't have to go to the list of posted sales invoices. I didn't even have to know it was an invoice. I wasn't sure if it was an invoice or an order or a packing slip. I just typed the number in, said search company data, and from there it takes me immediately to it. It's a very fast way to find transaction details, history, or specific documents in the system. Just click search, type the number. I can simply hit back and I can go again. If I want to see just the lines or the customer ledger entry it made, just click that and there it is. Invoice for 103236. Scroll a little bit to the right. 300 big invoice, $318 invoice for a datum. Again, I'm in customer ledger entries. So from here I can continue to apply my filters, my filter totals, or etc. We're not going to talk about specific features for vendors or customers, right? So we'll let the video series that covers payables and receivables do that for you, so you can see how to see applied entries or post cash payments or process those transactions. Today we wanted to show you how to find it, right? And the answer is this little search option. Okay, the last thing we'll show you, once we're in a chart of accounts or we're taking a look at certain ledger entries down there, let's take a look at some of our chart of accounts entries. I'll scroll down a little bit. We'll take a look at some of our revenue again. So if we look at our resale goods, and I'm looking at some entries here, what I'd like to see is this whole journal entry. I can see a credit to revenue, right? My revenue account is 4140. Credits in Business Central are shown as negative, right? Again, we won't get into the training of that, but that is some training for the accountants and for the folks who won't manage the general ledger. Negative entries in the general ledger side are typically credits. Positive entries are typically debits. So here I can see a credit to revenue, right, for $10,008. I'd like to see the other side of that. I'd like to see that whole entry. Did we charge tax on it correctly? And did we accrue that tax? How can I see all the other areas? In an older version of Navision or of Business Central, there was a feature called Navigate. Inside Business Central today, if you highlight the entry in question, look for the Process menu link, and from Process, look for Find Entries. Okay, so Process, Find Entries. This will take you to all the other functional areas that transaction was impacted by or impacted. In this case, I have a sales invoice. I have the GL entries. I can see we do in fact have tax entries. I have a customer ledger entry, detailed customer ledger entries, which represent foreign currency and the application details of how it was paid, right, or paid off, and even value entries, which represent the inventory and the inventory costing for the invoice. All of that at my fingertips with Process Find Entries. And the Process Find Entries is available from anywhere. Customer ledger entries, item ledger entries, vendor ledger entries, bank ledger, it doesn't matter. Any transaction you have a question about, highlight it, choose process, find entries, and you'll see the details. And as always, once those details are visible, if you want to see them, just click the link. Takes you immediately to the invoice. Go back, I can see the tax entries, and I can even see the full GL entry for this transaction. That's both sides of it, right? Debits and credits, those rows will total up to 0, which means the transaction is in balance. And I can see I have cost of goods sold, I have revenue here, all of it as part of my transaction, right? Even things like our AR. So wanted to be sure you're aware of process find entries. Again, it's available from anywhere at all. If we go out and take a look at a vendor, right? Again, I'm getting my training tips are on. Remember, you can turn those on and off in settings. Check out our intro video on my settings as well. We've got one dedicated to that topic too. Here inside vendor ledger entries, if I want to take a look at any one of these transactions, I just highlight it, look for the process menu link, right? Find entries. Here it tells me everything about that invoice. I can see the GL entry. I started at vendor ledger entries, but I want to see the GL. What GL account did it hit? Here I can see, looks like inventory, looks like a purchase of inventory, debiting 1561 and crediting my accounts payable 1561. Looks like a good entry. We do have some tax on that, kind of unusual to probably accrue tax for inventory purchase, but this is sample data after all. Vendor ledger entries, detailed vendor ledger entries, and of course the original purchase invoice. So today's video is showing you how to find things in Business Central. Short and sweet. The search magnifying glass on the right lets you find functional areas, modules, pages, and tasks to enable you to create transactions, view them, query them. This is also the area where you enter part of a transaction number and say search company data, and it will help find it. And then from any transaction that you're in the system, general ledger, vendors, customers, you can highlight a transaction, you can choose process, find entries, and it will show you all of the other related transactions and functional areas that were touched by that transaction. So I hope you find that helpful. Be sure to check out our other videos that we have available in this intro series to Business Central. And as always, thanks for watching.